Alright, everybody. Welcome to the stream. I'm going to fix my dang hat, beanie, whatever the heck you want to call it. Welcome to the stream, everybody who is currently watching. I'm going to pull the feed up right now because I got to change the dang thumbnail. So while you guys are pouring in, feel free to say hi, say something in the chat and everything like that while I get the thumbnail in order, because this is not the thumbnail for this video. Jesus though, but this episode, even though it was only about 13 and a half minutes, which a lot of people seem to have a problem with for some odd reason, it was 13 minutes of like, even though it was strong emotion. Only like this episode, if you guys really like look at what all happened in this episode, which we're all going to talk about, it was filled with like so much emotion. Like, this is not an episode that should be taken lightly compared to other ones at all, in my opinion. This episode was just as important because it was the aftermath of everything that happened before. Let's see what this dang thing is. We got it. Just leave that there. See how this goes. Alright, everybody, I got the thumbnail set. So continuing on with this episode, like I was saying, was filled with so much emotion. Like, there is not, like, we're going to touch up on everything that I saw this episode, but there is not, like, there were so many people talking about how it was so short this and so short that. Do you guys remember how Rwby used to be? The first episode was like 4.5 minutes. I'm surprised I even watched it. Like, it really used to be like one of the shortest dang series that I've ever seen in my life. And for you guys to be getting upset with that is freaking crazy. They just got done putting out a 26-minute episode, which they probably blew all their budget on. So, like, give Rooster Teeth a break and everything. Like, this is not what you need to be doing. Hopefully, people get these notifications. I'm going to wait like maybe a couple more minutes, make sure everything's right with the stream, and then I'll make sure and like get all into the nitty-gritty of all this, because there may not be a lot that we need to unpack like how there was in the last episode in chapter 3, but there is still a good bit that I want to talk to you guys about. And also, for anybody watching, and I'll make sure to make references throughout the live stream just in case anybody tunes in later, I am literally in the process of editing. I mean, I know I'm not editing right now, I'm live, but right after this live stream, I will continue to get back to what I was editing before, which is a video on Crow, and we'll get a little bit into it during this live stream, but I don't want to talk too much about it, because then what's the point of me making the video? I'm making this video specifically about Crow for multiple reasons. I'll bullet point them throughout the live stream, but Crow has gone through a lot. I'll say that Crow has gone through a lot. Literally, when I'm thinking about everybody in Team Rwby, I literally cannot think of anybody who's, I won't even say in Team Rwby. Throughout all of Rwby, every single character that we've seen, the only one who I feel like personally who has been through more stuff than Crow is probably Ozpin. And I know it's kind of a stretch when you consider Yang and everything like that, but I'll explain all that in the video that you guys should check. So if you guys have not hit the post notification bell, please hit it so you guys make sure you don't miss that video. I'm actually sending it to a couple. I'm actually going to send it to a couple people who I know watch Rwby and everything, like a couple reactors who I know watch Rwby, to get their opinions and their takes on it, because I really want to know what you guys think about this. But right now, see a couple people in the live stream. I'm going to go on and start this discussion and everything. Anybody who you guys know who may watch Rwby, make sure to go let them know that I'm live stream right now, because we're going to unpack this past episode, which is obviously chapter 4. Right now we're going to go on and start this. So in the beginning of the episode, as you guys can see, it starts off with Ozpin. I'm going to call him Ozpin for just the sake of this part of the discussion, just because of the fact that this is Ozpin in control right now. We have Ozpin literally like in tears right now. This dude is in full-fledged tears, like how Salem was in the last chapter when Ozma died. And the reason why is because he had his backstory forced upon him. And it wasn't Jin's fault, because Jin has to do what her, like, whoever has the lamp of knowledge, or the lantern of knowledge, basically has dominion of what Jin, like, Jin is obligated in a sense to tell them what they ask, like the answer of what they ask. So it wasn't her fault for saying this. I'm pretty dang sure she knew that Ozpin didn't want that secret to get out, but she said it because of what Rwby and everybody said. I get that they were curious. I get that they had reasons for being curious, all the secrecy and everything. But at the end of the day, when you realize what his secret was, you realize that that was a secret meant specifically for him, and the fact that that secret was forced out of him, or in a sense forced out of him, was kind of sad in my opinion. Like, I didn't like the fact that Rwby and everybody just jumped the gun like that. Like, what Ozpin's hiding from us? He was hiding a personal story that you guys did not need to know. Like, sure, there may be a little bit of things that he probably could have told you, maybe, but he was hiding a overall personal story that you guys didn't need to know, and in the end forced out of him, and in this episode got pissed off over. The only thing that I will say that was justified that they were upset for was the fact that in this episode they did state, well, in last episode they stated that Salem cannot be defeated. But in the end of the day, and I was listening and I was watching a couple other reactors about this, that could probably just mean that Ozpin himself cannot defeat Salem. Rwby probably can, Yang probably can, Weiss, the rest of Team Rwby, heck, even Crow probably have the potential to. But I think that Jin was saying that Ozpin specifically can't. And I think the reason why she was saying he can't is because of his previous ties with her. Which makes sense. Can you really kill somebody who you loved that much? Somebody who... Can you really kill the woman who bore your children? Like the woman who had your children? 4 of your daughters, who are most likely, if not definitely, the first maidens. Could you as a man really do that? I don't think you could. I really don't think you could. I don't think any man, like, with the right mind could do that. It doesn't make sense to me. And I think that's what Jin was saying in the last episode. I think that's the reason why she said it, is because he literally cannot bring himself to do it. It's not that he's physically incapable of doing it. It's that his mind and his heart won't let him do it. And I think that is what the overall purpose of her saying that was. Now, that also ties into the whole genie thing. Like, a lot of people, like, in a lot of stories that involve genies and everything, the thing about genies is you have to be very, very specific with what you wish for when it comes to like a genie's lamp. And that's kind of who Jin is. She kind of looks like a genie and kind of is a genie. So the thing is, you have to be very specific with their wishes. So when Ozpin said, how do I defeat Salem? Or how do I destroy Salem, rather? And she said, you can't. I think that she specifically meant that you, Ozpin, Ozma, cannot defeat Salem. And I think that's what she meant. Now, if he had asked, can Salem be defeated? Or something like that, I feel like she would have gave him a different answer. But since he felt like it was solely his purpose to defeat her, he asked, how can I defeat Salem? And that's why what transpired. Now, in this scene also, and I'm going to keep this image here just for the sake of having something here. In this image also, they also had talked about, and what Yang said, Yang immediately blew up after this, because the thing is that she's still sitting there talking about the fact that there wasn't any trust and everything. There wasn't any trust. She feels like Ozpin doesn't trust him. She feels like he was hiding secrets and everything. But like I said in my last live stream, and the live stream even before that, the thing is that Yang kept secrets too. She never told Crow or anybody that freaking heck, do they even know that Raven's the actual Spring Maiden? Like, is that something that they even know? I know that Crow said since the Spring Maiden isn't there to open the vault, but he could still be thinking about Vernal and everything. So what in the world is going on? I don't understand, like, the fact that Crow said that, and even though Raven's his sister, they've been separated for a long time. They've been separated for a long time. So the fact that that's the case could easily mean that Crow and Ozpin had no idea. Because I feel like if Ozpin had any idea who the Spring Maiden was, he probably would have sought out Raven a long time ago. But I feel like he didn't know that she had become the Spring Maiden, so he didn't seek her out. But going back to this, in short, Yang's a hypocrite. In a sense, Yang's a hypocrite. And here's what really got me. Rwby had asked Ozpin immediately after they found out his backstory. Rwby had asked Ozpin what his plan is to defeat Salem. He said he has no plan to defeat this lady. Ozpin has no plan to defeat Salem. I feel like his ultimate goal was maybe not to defeat her, but to just make sure that she can't win herself. So it wasn't defeat. What he wanted to do is he wanted to just simply make sure that she didn't get the relics. He wanted to make sure that she simply didn't get the relics so that she couldn't accomplish her overall goal, which isn't a bad plan in the grand scheme of things. Like, in a sense, that still kind of defeats Salem. She wants the relics for God knows what, but if you stop her from getting the relics, then she can't achieve her overall goal, in a sense. But this scene right here is the reason why I even decided to make that video on Crow. Let me just show you guys, for those of you who haven't seen this episode for whatever reason, let me just show you guys what I'm talking about. Now, I'm going to put this video up here. Not the video, but I'm going to put this picture up here. And then right here, now, right here we see Crow drinking. I want you guys to tell me when the last time we saw Crow drinking was. I'm not talking about drinking like that martini he had in like the first episode or whatever the heck that was. I'm talking about some actual freaking drinking. Like, I'm talking about like some down hard, crazy drinking. When is the last time we saw this? I'm going to show you guys something right here, and I want you to bear with me, because these pictures were not like loading a second ago. Right here we have Crow, in a sense, winding up for a punch. The person he's punching is Ozpin/Oscar. Right here we have Crow drinking out of his flask, which we haven't seen him drink out of since volume 3. Literally, I don't think there was one time that he drank out of that flask since volume 3. I'm thinking that he might have drank out of it again in volume 4 in the campfire, but I think it was too serious then for him to. Also, he was wounded, so I don't think that he was drinking then. But the whole thing that I'm saying is, everybody has vices, and I'm going to touch on this just a little bit because the video is going to explain everything that I'm talking about. Everybody has vices. As we all know, drinking is a vice. It's kind of like an addiction, kind of. When we first get introduced to Crow, he is drinking or drunk. I always thought that he was just one of those guys who drank just for the heck of it, just like getting drunk. But after this scene and after other scenes before this, Crow is a very sad person. I'm talking about an extremely sad person. In this scene, we see emotion out of Crow that I don't think we've ever seen before in Rwby. He is sad and upset that Ozpin, in a sense a role model, in a sense a father figure, I'm just saying father figure because it seems like it, because in a sense Ozpin took Crow under his wing, has lied to him this whole time. Crow found purpose in Ozpin's mission to defeat Salem. And when Crow found out in this scene that Ozpin has no plan to defeat Salem, Crow feels like his whole life is meaningless in a sense. And it got to the point where in this picture, I'm going to enlarge it a little bit for you guys here. In this picture right here, Rwby had just got done telling Oscar that he's not going to be just another one of Ozpin's lives. Crow then walks, pulling out his flask, starting to drink from it, and says, "Don't lie to him, Rwby. We're better than that." Crow was being brutally honest with how he felt. Crow does not trust Ozpin anymore. Nobody in the group trusts Ozpin anymore. Ozpin had retreated and locked himself away inside Oscar's consciousness. Oscar can't even reach him anymore. And that's because of what Crow said. When Crow said that meeting and needing Ozpin was the worst luck he had in his life, especially Ozpin knowing that his semblance is misfortune, that he brings misfortune, that was a huge shock to Ozpin. And it made Ozpin retreat into Oscar. This scene itself is the reason why I'm going to finish making that video. It is such an emotional scene, in my opinion, for Crow. Because you realize just how messed up Crow's life was. And that's why I'm going to explain to you guys later on in my video about Crow why he has probably had the second worst life out of everybody in Rwby. First worst life is Ozpin, but second worst life. Originally, I was going to say he had the third worst life because of the fact that Ozpin and Salem. But Salem gradually and very quickly abandoned her want to be with Ozma and just turned into this very spiteful person who just wanted to destroy people, which knocked her down the list. Now I feel like Salem is third out of everybody. Crow by far has to be second, in my opinion. This guy has been through so much, and we still don't know an overall backstory with this guy. And I'm going to get into everything that we do know in the video. But omitting all these, like I said, this was a very emotional scene, in my opinion. And I feel like Crow deserves a lot more than this. He had to deal with so much. And I felt so bad for Crow when I realized and saw the emotion. I felt like I felt his pain. Like it was really something serious in this episode. And then we have like Grandma of the Year over here, Maria Calavera, giving it to Yang, who thinks that she knows everything and thinks that she's just omitted from all this. Yang is just we all know that Yang was the hot-tempered person in Team Rwby. We all knew this. But my thing is that Yang sitting here like she's never made mistakes. Like she's never hidden big things. Like she's never done this, she's never done that. We're all human. Except for Ozpin. Now I think about it. Regardless, he is technically human. He's just an immortal human. He's made more mistakes than any man, woman, child on this planet. He was serious about that. He told Team Juniper that. I don't think Yang and everybody was there yet. But the thing is that Yang can't be sitting here just getting flat out upset with everything that Ozpin kept secret. It was a personal story. You would think that they would like acknowledge the fact that this is a personal story. The only thing that they should really be upset about is the fact that he hid the fact that he doesn't have a plan to defeat Salem. If that's the case, freaking brainstorm a plan. I mean, you guys can't do anything without Ozpin, in my opinion. If you guys really still want to save the world and everything like that, you're going to need Ozpin regardless. You guys are not going to be able to do crap without Ozpin. You're not going to be able to defeat Salem in combat. Dang sure. You're going to need Ozpin for that. None of you can perform magic. Salem would put all of you in the dirt. So my thing is, what are you going to do? You need to gradually forgive Ozpin. And that also brings me to the scene where Jean slams Oscar into the wall. Jean probably wants to like go off on Ozpin and he can't, like I mentioned the other live stream. But Grandma of the Year right here, Maria Calavera, she turned out to be the anchor that I was talking about in my last live stream. In my last live stream, I thought that it was going to be Oscar or Rwby or maybe even Crow. But it turned out to be Maria who was the real anchor and got everybody to calm down. Because she made a very good point. Everybody was just oozing negativity. They just got done fighting Grimm. And we, to this day, them to this very second, have no idea whether they're even alone in the woods, like whether there's even Grimm around or anything like that. And as we all know, Grimm are attracted to negativity, negative emotions. Everybody there, including Crow, was just oozing negative emotions. So what she did was she shut everybody up. She got everybody there. She's the oldest besides technically Ozpin, but he shut himself out. She got everybody to be like, she's like, look, everybody is oozing negativity. I'm still surprised that it's humanity's second go around. But right now we all need to leave. Why would we stay here and talk about this? If we're going to talk about this, talk about it later. We ain't got time for this. I'm too old to be dying by freezing to death type stuff. Like, she is Grandma of the Year. I'm glad to see an old person, like an actual elderly type person in Rwby. And I hope we have a lot more dialogue from her, because she, right now, as of now, is the anchor for the group. She's what's keeping everybody to calm down and be sane in a sense. So I found that really, really helpful. Very, very helpful, as a matter of fact. And it was just like, wow. Like, this episode, the emotions that everybody had, the voice acting was just great. I really think the voice acting was very, 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 very great. And then we come to this. Let me just, because I'm freaking doing terrible right now. We come to this. This scene right here. Emerald and Tyrion. So far, Rooster Teeth has done an amazing job at freaking putting the scenes from the intro in the actual show. I'm going to just like cover my mouth for a second. Because this scene right here, which I honestly thought we wouldn't actually see for real. In the scene to you guys is right, we see Emerald, who has her weapons out towards Tyrion. And the reason why she has him out is because Tyrion obviously says something about Cinder. Emerald at this point has no idea that Cinder is still alive. She has no idea. Her, Mercury, Hazel, everybody who was there during Volume 5 in the finale feels like Cinder is dead. They're all like, they feel like it's confirmed Cinder's dead. Emerald, as we all know, owes her life to Cinder. Cinder is like mom to Emerald. Talk about my mom, first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna cut you. That's just what it seems like. So she's sitting there, and I feel like at this point she knows that Tyrion is stronger and a better fighter than her. But her rage and her anger about Cinder dying and somebody talking bad about Cinder just didn't. She wasn't having it. She just wasn't having it. So she pulled him out. She pulled out the straps, in a sense. And Tyrion had made a very good point right here. In this scene, I'm pretty sure we all thought that Emerald had somehow cut Tyrion. Hey, Jeremiah, it's alright. I feel like we had all feel like Emerald had cut Tyrion in this episode, or in this scene. It turns out Tyrion's crazy ass cut himself. He rubbed his face on Emerald's weapons like a psychopath. I thought he was crazy before. This is just downright freaking retarded. I didn't think that a person would do this. But that's what he did. And he also made a very good point to put Emerald in her place. You see that right here in this picture, Emerald is like, oh, I'm a bust a cap in you type junk. In this picture, she's freaking terrified. And she's terrified for good reason. Tyrion ain't no bitch. He's going to put Emerald in the dirt if he wants to. Only reason he hasn't is probably because it would be against Salem's wishes. So that's one thing. But he made sure to let her know. That means he purposely... Yeah, it does. Okay, Jeremiah, are you the same Jeremiah from the from my last stream that I was talking to? Because god dang, I could have sworn that your last name on there was Jeremiah Short and not Jeremiah Winslow. This is really effing with me. Because now I'm thinking you're my coworker. Oh my god, you're not my coworker. Why the heck do I keep thinking you're my coworker, bro? Why? There are so many Jeremiahs I know, and I don't know any of their freaking last names. But, yeah. So, yeah, he purposely did disable his aura so that he could let Emerald know, in a sense, that nothing that she could do was going to hurt him. And Emerald, being somebody of sanity, was completely shocked and put off and scared of this man who's completely insane. So I found that to be a good point, because Tyrion is in love with Salem. He'll do anything to please Salem. And the fact that they failed like he did, but he didn't fail this bad. This was a very important mission. Salem originally wanted Tyrion to find one of the other maidens, and she decided to be like, oh, well, okay, first find the girl who did this to Cinder type junk. But she originally wanted him to find the Spring Maiden. Now, not only did they not find the Spring Maiden, but they did not get the relic. They lost a vital, even though Salem was the one who decided to kill Lionheart, they lost a vital asset, which was Lionheart. The vault is permanently open. The people who they don't want to have the relic, and Salem later on figures out that Ozpin is back. Yeah, man, it's alright. I'm glad you dropped by. I mean, I'm glad somebody is saying something in this goddamn stream. I'm trying to get more people in the Rwby community. I was hoping that the 97 people who had looked at my last live stream after you had tuned in and everything would be here. But, I mean, they probably got work and everything like that. I'm not worried about it. I'm still going to be having these live streams no matter how many people come by. I'm just hoping that people eventually come by. I'm hoping that by the end of this volume, I have a significant amount of people in my Rwby live streams. That's what I'm hoping. I'm trying to like get the word out there that I live stream and do reactions, because my reaction to chapter 3 is up. It is up now. I just got the notification earlier today. It is unblocked. It is up. But continuing past this, let's go. This scene right here. These arms that are grabbing Hazel are the same type of arms that Rwby was fighting in the intro and that Crow was seemingly falling into in the intro. That kind of leads me to believe that Salem has some kind of way to use her magic at a distance or long range. If that scene is really in the show, like in the series, and it's not just one of those scenes that they put in the intro. If that scene is real, then it leads me to believe that Salem has the possibility to use her magic at long ranges, and she could possibly conjure those grim arms from the shadows, and they attacked Team Rwby. Possibly. Just a theory, not really one that I have a lot of evidence on besides this, but who knows. But in this scene, we actually see Hazel's fear. Hazel was like one of the big pillars of Salem's like forces. Like out of all of Salem's disciples, Hazel was somebody who we just automatically felt was like this giant pillar. Like nobody was over Hazel. Dr. Watts wasn't over Hazel, especially not in strength. Tyrion wasn't. Didn't seem like he was. Doesn't seem like he could beat Hazel. Because Tyrion was struggling with Crow, and it seemed like Hazel was beating Crow like one-sidedly. Hazel was fighting Crow and Ozpin. Cinder isn't over him. I mean, Cinder may have technically killed Ozpin back then, but she can't beat him. That's not happening. So, to see Hazel have this fear about him in this scene, when he goes back to report his failure to Salem, was crazy. And the reason why Salem even grabbed him wasn't because of the failure in general. It was because he neglected to say who the real, whose fault it really was. He was trying to be in a sense, good person and be like, I take full responsibility and everything. But in short, it was really Cinder's fault. Because if they had just done what Salem had originally wanted and everything, instead of trying to lead people into a trap, they would have probably already had the Spring Maiden and already had the relic. But they listened to Cinder, and that's why she's in a sense exiled now. In this scene too, they also realize that Cinder is alive. And that brings me to this scene right here. Again, we all know how Emerald feels about Cinder. Cinder is in a sense Emerald's goddess when you think about it. And Emerald obviously being completely afraid. Like she doesn't want the same thing that was happening to Hazel. Hazel didn't die or anything, for those of you who didn't watch it. She just like bound Hazel with these to show her power in a sense. She didn't want that same thing to happen. So her, in a sense, shuddering when Salem tells Emerald to say whose fault it was. And the reason why she chose Emerald is because she wanted to see, in a sense, how loyal or how afraid Emerald was of her. Because we all know that Emerald doesn't really care about Salem. She wants to do this for Cinder. But Emerald, wanting to live, came back there and had to say that it was Cinder's fault, because we all know it was. And Salem sitting there like, okay, you admitted it, okay then. So Salem lets Hazel go and everything, and then she repeats the same lines that were from the trailer, which is talking about like the moment you put your objectives before my own, they will be lost to you, stuff like that. So when she did that, I was like, fine, okay. So we're getting like everything from from the trailer and the intro, which was great. I thought it was actually great. But when Hazel said that he had more to report, Salem whipped out the arms again, getting ready to pounce on Hazel. When Hazel mentioned Ozpin's name and Salem got upset in this scene right here, give me one moment, because this thing is not cooperating at all. I'm glad my chat box is still working. In this scene right here, and don't worry guys, I'm going to make sure to enlarge it for you so you guys just see how crazy this scene was. And the cinematography for this scene was great too. We saw a dark aura around Salem that I don't think we have actually ever seen before. We've seen aura and everything, but we've never seen this dark, malevolent type aura around anybody, I feel like, besides maybe the god of darkness. And we saw it around Salem. And she was getting angry, and her power alone was cracking the windows while everybody was talking. Just subtly enough that nobody really noticed until all the windows were cracked. So she told everybody to leave. They left, and it seemed like she was going to calm down. But just the mere fact that she was scorned by Ozpin all those years ago, all those centuries ago, just ticked her off. She got upset, released her power. Every single window in that room shattered. Every single one. And it just shows you how much she hates Ozpin. And it might not even be hate. It could really just be the fact that she hates the fact that they didn't work out, in my opinion. It really could just be that. It could be that. I don't see a situation where it couldn't be that. But that was just like, it was just amazing. The cinematography zooming out, the close-ups, the zoom outs, everything. It was just zooming out and showing like all the windows just shattering, breaking, being destroyed. It was really, really good. I actually really liked it. And like I said, this live stream is going to be short and everything. Anybody who's watching this live stream, who winds up watching this live stream in the future and who makes it to this point, I am in the process of editing and making a video about Crow, and it is basically about how he is one of the most damaged characters in the Rwby universe. 2 on my list. He is number 2 on my list. But getting out of that, and this is another image that I caught. This tunnel right here. Remember how I told you guys about those tentacles or those arms that are grabbing Rwby and everything, or trying to grab Rwby in the intro? This literally looks like the tunnel, and I could be wrong. I could easily be wrong, but this literally looks like the tunnel where they were coming out of. Does it not look like the tunnel? It looks exactly like the tunnel that those tentacles were coming out of in the intro. And I find that very scary. Because if she can use her Grim abilities at long range, that means that they are screwed. Because this tunnel right here is somewhere you should not be going. Overall, though, this is a great episode by Rooster Teeth. Phenomenal episode. I cannot wait for Saturday, where chapter 5 comes out, because I want more dialogue between everybody. Team Rwby isn't divided, but Ozpin is like no more, in a sense. Like, he's not even a part of the group anymore. I don't know when the next time we'll see him actually will be, because like I feel like we're gonna go a good maybe 2 or 3 episodes. Heck, it might not even be 2 or 3 episodes. They might actually bring him back next episode. But I feel like, honestly, we're going to go a good 2 or 3 episodes without seeing or hearing Ozpin. And I feel like it kind of sucks, because the longer and longer that Ozpin isn't there trying to like get everybody on his side, the more and more they'll possibly resent him in the future. And that's not good. I feel like Ozpin, somebody like Ozpin who constantly had to see loved ones die and him being alone and everything, I feel like he needs people around him. And the fact that even Crow has shut him out, it's like everybody really just needs time to cope with all this. I feel like everybody in Team Rwby, Crow, everybody just needs time to cope with the fact that they need to find a way to defeat Salem. I feel like once they do that, Ozpin will be back in the loop and everybody will be good. But as of right now, the wounds are still fresh. Nobody can trust Ozpin. Ozpin's alone again. Ozpin has to deal with being alone again. And it just sucks. It really sucks. Because I feel bad for Ozpin more than anybody. Like, I would have thought that at least somebody understood, or could at least not necessarily understand, but be like understanding about what Ozpin was going through. But no, just everybody was kind of like F you Ozpin. Like it was a really, I just didn't think it would go that way. But that is pretty much it. All I have to cover for this live stream. The episode was only 13 minutes, so there wasn't too much I had to talk about. There was only like 3 scenes as well. We got the beginning with the discussion, Crow and everything. We got Salem and what happened over in the Realm of Darkness, and then we got back to Team Rwby. Yeah, there was only 3 scenes in this 13-minute episode, and all 3 of those scenes were filled with so much emotion, so much great voice acting. So props to Rooster Teeth, everybody a part of Rwby. You guys did an amazing job. Barbara is killing it as Yang, showing that anger. Good God. Like, Yang is by far, like, when it comes to like emotions in general, Yang is by far one of the more emotional type characters in Rwby, even if her only emotion that she really shows is like rage. But Barbara Dunkelman is killing it as Yang. Honestly, like, the rage that she shows is freaking phenomenal. Like, props to everybody who was, you know what, who voices Crow? Whoever voices Crow did an amazing job too. And it was just like Crow and Yang were like the 2 very emotional people in this episode. And also Salem as well. Jesus, man. Another great one by Rooster Teeth. Thank you, Jeremiah, for coming out. Thank you, everybody who watches this live stream, who will watch this live stream. Anybody who happens to see the end of this live stream right now, look out on my channel for my video about Crow, which should be up in a day or so. I'm going to be editing it now, but it should be up in a day or so. And just make sure to look it up, because I feel like it will open a lot of people's eyes to what Crow is about. I mean, Crow is already like a fan favorite, in my opinion. But I want everybody to know, from my point of view, like the depth of his character, because there's really a lot about Crow that is just like, Jesus, this man's been through a lot. But that is it for this live stream. Thank you, everybody, for coming out, everybody who will watch. Like, comment, subscribe, and share. Subscribe to Rooster Teeth, man. They make amazing stuff. This series is going to kill me. It is going to kill me. I honestly feel like I'm going to die in this series. But that is it for this video. Thank you, everybody. I love all of you guys. Thank you for supporting me. I am so tired because I haven't gotten any sleep yet since the live stream. I tried to rest since the live stream this morning, but I haven't gotten any sleep since the live stream this morning, so I'm going to probably go get some rest, wake back up in about an hour or so, edit that video, and that'll be 3 uploads, in a sense, for today, if I get that video up. And even if I don't get the video up today, 2 live streams in a day, which I didn't think I would do. I'm being a lot more consistent. I really am, but that is it for this live stream, man. Thank you, everybody, again, and I'm out. Peace.